But Dad, isn't it time for illegal ham in the face? But bro, where's the banjo?
Some Cleveland sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face. Talking all Cleveland sports. And don't forget our Fat Boy Tuesday, where we also ham it up with some fun food topics. Without further ado, let's serve up some ham. Here are the Ham Boys, Fatty, and Big Bry.
What is going on, everybody? I am that fat guy, Jared Fatty Bates. I am here with Big Bry. Big Bry, what is going on?
Hey, man.
And welcome in to Illegal Ham to the Face. We have Eric here. We have Justin here. James is here. And we have got Craig's here. We got a very special show for you today. We're going to get into our Cleveland Mount Bustmore because Casey brought it up on 2 shows ago, and we figured we're going to have some fun tonight with it. We're going to get in Fat Boy Tuesday with some ice cream. We are also going to go through a top tier list of football movies. And Sherry did some homework. Sherry, Eric said hi. Justin said hi, Sherry. We are also going to touch a little bit on Jim Brown and his legacy here in Cleveland and how he should be remembered here in Cleveland, which, as for Cleveland fans, it's something special for us. And then on that note, we have our trivia, which I am giving Bri trivia tonight. And we do have a dog of the week from City Dogs Cleveland tonight. Kind of matches up with the ice cream theme tonight, Bri. So it's going to be a good one.
Cool. Can't wait.
All right. Now, do you have any shout outs before we get this party going, Bri?
The only shout out I have is the shout out I give every year. And it's the one leading up to Memorial Day. Shout out my high school buddy, Devin Grella, who lost his life in Iraq. And we honor all the fallen soldiers on Monday. So hopefully it's a week leading up to it. If you know anybody who gave their life for this country, hopefully you're thinking about them and sending well wishes to their family. And, it's easy to say it's just a day off for the rest of us, but obviously a lot more happened there, and a lot of good men and women gave their lives for our freedom. So thinking about Devin, thinking about the Grella family, thinking about just how he always had a smile on his face, and he was always somebody that you wanted to be around because of his positivity. And yeah, I was thinking the other day we lost him about almost 20 years ago. So it's crazy how time flies that way. And I know you got a buddy who you lost as well from high school. So yeah, but that's the only shout I really got right now.
Raymond Border, say it every year. I mean, I went to high school with him. He's one of the greatest guys I ever met. Also, we got Chris in here. Chris's brother also passed away overseas, and it's a tough time for everybody, especially Memorial Day, especially people that we've lost. That's why we always say at the end of our show, thank you guys for everything you do for us, because we do not let that go unappreciated, especially on this show. We wouldn't be able to do what we do with our families, with our friends, if it wasn't for you guys doing what you guys do overseas and protecting us. So thank you, Eric. Thank you. So it's definitely a sad one. And then we'll go right into the really sad part of the weekend that we had last weekend. We got news on Friday that Jim Brown passed away at 87 years old, who is a Browns legend, especially a political advocate, especially for change and everything else, especially here in Cleveland and LA. So we wanted to send out condolences to his family. One of the greatest Browns ever. And probably probably the greatest football player ever. I know we always throw in cliches of, well, quarterbacks and all this stuff. I still think that quarterbacks should be in their own league and players should be different. But thinking of him, knowing how he is, if he was playing in 2023, it'd probably look a lot like Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry running over people. So that his skill set does not change over time. So while I say that, let's bring in the other people here that we're having on the show tonight, Brian. We also Sherry's joining us tonight, and also Casey K is joining us tonight. Brian, what do you think about Jim Brown's legacy here in Cleveland? How will you remember Jim Brown?
I mean, simply put, he is the Cleveland Browns franchise. Even 60 years later, from when he stopped playing, he's the most iconic player that this franchise has ever seen. And frankly, I don't know if it's even close. And we all love Joe Thomas and think of him very highly, but still, it's Jim Brown's franchise. He's the guy who you point to as a Cleveland Browns fan whenever your buddies who root for other teams start bringing up great players in their franchise history. It's like, yeah, well, we got Jim Brown, who's the greatest football player ever. And I still think back to, I think at the turn of the century, ESPN was doing their top 100 athletes of all time. And he was, I believe, number 4. And he was only behind MJ and Muhammad Ali and Babe Ruth. So he was the highest rated football player at that time. He was top 5 greatest athletes of all time. And I don't really know if any of that has changed. And, his other athletic abilities kind of maybe we forget about. Him as a lacrosse player, being in the Lacrosse Hall of Fame, playing some hoops at Syracuse. But just thinking about his football accomplishments, I mean, we can fill a whole show up for what he's done and stuff that we still haven't even seen today, like averaging 100 yards a game. Nobody else does that. That's how I kind of think about, how running backs should be measured, is based on, okay, yeah, we have 14 games back then, we have 17 games now. Okay, what did you do every game? What did you do when we gave you the ball? How do you compare back then to guys of today? And he's still one of the best, averaging 5.2 yards per carry. Still one of the greatest of all time. The only ones who come close are a couple guys. Nick Chubb's one of them. So, yeah, just the impact that he continues to have today. I still think about my dad's lucky number was 32. He passed that down to my brother. My brother's lucky number was 32. He wore it in basketball. And I just got a picture about a month ago. My little 5-year-old, 6-year-old nephew is playing T-ball now, and guess what number he's wearing? He's wearing 32. So, I mean, just the impact of Jim Brown is still felt today, even by the people who never saw him play, just based on what our dads told us and what our uncles told us, what our grandfathers told us, and just passing that down. And I think his legacy will still stay strong for many years to come.
Yeah. Justin chimed in, said he did the half marathon here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Said he always remembered that marker 12 was a flag of Jim Brown in a Browns uniform carrying the ball. Yeah, his legacy here in Cleveland will be completely set in stone. It actually is, with him being immortalized with a statue, and plus with being in the Ring of Honor. Is that what they call it? The Ring of Honor there in Cleveland. His number's retired here. Sherry, what are your thoughts about Jim Brown passing this weekend?
Well, I'm still new to being a Browns fan, but I understand the gravity of what he meant to Cleveland and his legacy. Also, I spent time up in Syracuse. That's where Dr. Matt got his PhD. So it is a big lacrosse school. A lot of people don't realize, but there's lacrosse stuff everywhere and all like the places where the kids hang out, and such. So saw a lot of memorabilia up there of lacrosse careers and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. We saw him when he did the Ring of Honor, and it was amazing because it was so cold. He didn't have a jacket on. And I'm just sitting up there in the nosebleeds like, somebody get this man a jacket. He's in his 80s. I mean, he was walking fairly unassisted with a cane, and I'm just like in awe of just who he was. And he was like hanging out in this golf cart. and he didn't need to be carted to where he was walking. He walked out and he was just, in all of his glory. It was incredible.
Yeah, he's something special, especially if you get to meet him in person, because from what I'm told from a lot of people, I never got the chance to, but everybody that has met him, he is one genuine person. He's very nice to everybody, will shake your hand, talk to you, joke around about anything and everything. If you want to joke around with him, he's a kind soul. So you don't get that often with pro athletes and, everything else, but he's definitely one of a kind. Casey, what about you? You said you wanted to touch a little bit on Jim Brown, then ask us a question, right?
Yeah, I would. It starts with legacy. You guys pointed it out. You got someone who we've never seen play. We just heard stories from elders and the gravity of him. You knew who he was. It was part of the fabric of the game. And we're talking about how quarterbacks should be in a different category. Well, they should be. You're talking about the only 3-time MVP position player in the league's history. Been playing it for 100 years. Brian was talking about the numbers: 104 a game, 5.2 a carry, led the league in rushing 8 out of 9 years. I mean, he was Superman at his time and place. So a lot of these owners who are in their late 60s, early 70s, they know him as Superman. Like, that's who they grew up watching destroy their own team, but appreciating him for who he was. And like, in this world, you die 2 deaths. You die the first time, your physical death, when you're no longer with us. But you die your historical death the last time anyone says your name. Jim Brown's going to be alive for centuries. That's how momentous his playing career was. And I just, as Browns fans, even though we never got to see him, we see the old black and white footage, but that is the heritage that we fought for when the team left. Jim Brown is still yours because of that, and I just think, if you think about like the fact that he announced the Nick Chubb signing, like, or when they drafted him, like that's lineage, you know what I mean? And it's time to, reflect, and there's a lot of things going on. Like, he was a flawed human. We all are. He did things great and terrible, but he's human. I think when someone passes like this, we need to remember the joy he brought the world. And for like Browns fans, I mean, grandfathers, however far you go back with your Browns lineage, like he's that stable. He's like the legend, and I just think that it's time to reflect and just think of the good he did, at this time. And I just want to ask you guys, what would you like to see the Browns do to honor him this upcoming season?
All right, Brian, can I go first on this one?
Please do. Yep, go ahead.
I think both the NFL, the NFL has already with the Jim Brown Rushing Award that they give out every year now, but I think that the Cleveland Browns should get an exemption with their uniform, and I truly believe 32 should be on the helmet and on every Browns helmet. Also, I believe the 32-yard line should be marked on each side in either a gold color or something of that nature to honor his number. And then also one of the end zones, I would love to see his signature. If they could pull off a stencil on his signature in one of the end zones, and then the other one being the Cleveland Browns, signature, I think that would be absolutely amazing. But I really do think, and they already have a bronze statue, Chris. They already put the statue out. But I really do think that the NFL should give the Cleveland Browns, because they don't put anything on their helmets, with the exception of one stripe right down the middle, to have that 32 that we always saw in those black and white, films, that 32 always stood out on that helmet. I'd like to see that be worn for Cleveland Browns to honor Jim Brown.
So are you saying a 32 on the side of the helmet?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, gotcha. Like Alabama does with the numbers big 32. Okay, yeah. I think minimum you're talking some sort of decal on the back of the helmet, maybe a JB, maybe a 32, something like that. So minimum a patch on the jersey. Again, however you want to do it, something that everybody knows when they see it, that signifies Jim Brown and his greatness. And yeah, I think also the third thing I thought of was just something in the end zone. I like your idea of doing his signature. If not that, yeah, something else that people can think of. But yeah, other than that, I don't know what more you could really do. I mean, I heard it brought up that every player wear 32, which would be cool. I just don't know if it's really realistic. But yeah, you got to do something. You got to go above and beyond. It would be very cool if everyone in the NFL did something, some sort of decal or some sort of patch on their jersey. I think the NBA has done it with Bill Russell lately, and Major League Baseball has the Jackie Robinson Day. So yeah, I don't see why you couldn't do that for 1 week or maybe the whole season with a little decal or a patch or something like that. Because I mean, he's when we talk Mount Rushmore later, he's on the Mount Rushmore of football, and I don't think anybody can really argue that. So when somebody like that goes, you have to have a momentous celebration, even if it's just for one season.
Sherry, what about you?
No, I think you nailed it. I mean, could they do the 32 at the end of the white stripe, like right there? Or is that too distracting? I think that'd be kind of sharp.
I would think so. Sure.
Or why couldn't we do Jim Brown Stadium for the season?
Yeah.
That would be
That's a
kind of
good
nice
idea.
too.
Yeah.
And designate a few like visible spots in the stadium. Like we saw the big 32 locally, you could see it, from the outside. But I think a couple places, like Ring of Honor really highlight his name, his number, his achievement. And like Fatty said, I think it would be really great if they could do his signature in the end zone. That would be really nice.
Eric chimed in, said the Hall of Fame game, everybody should wear Brown, the number, or wear Brown's jersey. Yeah, they should.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
Chris said that Boston put Bill Russell's number on the court. At minimum, we need to do that.
Oh, at least. Midfield, yeah, that would be great.
Casey, what do you think?
Well, there's been zero bad ideas in here. These are all good right here. I like the idea of the 32-yard line. I hadn't heard that. I never, but I think that would be a nice touch. The gold 32-yard line, and I think there's a high possibility that something gets done league-wide. Maybe not for the whole season, maybe opening week, but I think that there will be like a coming together. I could see a patch on every jersey or a decal on the back of the helmet. And they used to rock the stencil on the side of the numbers. That's happened before. I would love to see the 32 for the full season. So I think it's going to be a combination of things, But there was no bad ideas in here. Any one of those would work. I like all of them. They're not going to do all of them, but I'd say 2 or 3 of them. I think it would be a nice touch.
Sure.
Yeah, my dad actually chimed in about the Waddell gave him the ultimatum on acting or football, and most people know that story, but they don't know like the whole background of it, because at the time Jim Brown was doing Dirty Dozen at the time, and he's going to fine him so much money for missing training camp. I mean, your best player, he's 29 years old at the time when he was doing that. So, I mean, it's almost like you're looking at like, your top football player. It'd be like LeBron James after his first years here in Cleveland, just going, yeah, I'm going to retire, and then just walk away, just completely walk away. No other Super Bowls. That was your last championship. This is how you're going out. And it's crazy that it came to that. But then also the fun stories that we've been hearing throughout the week with everybody that's talked about Jim Brown is one person asked him and said, well, why did you choose acting over football? And he goes, would you like to get hit every day for a couple $100? Just like he just put it in plain sense. He goes, I mean, you can only take so much punishment, and 9 years of punishment, you got your choice after that. So he was a really good actor afterwards, which there's a few movies that we might mention tonight that he was in. So, I really do think the Browns and the NFL should do something really special for him. Like you said, whether it be just for the home opener or just something like the Hall of Fame game would probably be the perfect time to do it. Especially with the Browns playing in it, especially with it being in Canton, especially with the pop that we're going to get with the Jets being there also. I think that would be an awesome time for the NFL to kind of, especially the first game in the preseason, just show their support for Jim Brown and what he meant to the NFL. Any LeBron has a 2-year, $97 million contract. Yeah, that's peanuts compared to what Jim Brown. So,
So do you guys remember, if you're stand-up fans, Richard Pryor often spoke of Jim Brown in his stand-up, which I thought was, like, before I knew who Jim Brown was, I heard Richard Pryor talking at how he pretty much saved his life because he got off drugs with the help of Jim Brown. And I mean, it's like two icons when you think about it on the Mount Rushmore of entertainment. Richard Pryor,
yeah,
talking about Jim Brown coming to his house to help him get off drugs. That to me always blew my mind.
I mean, there's so many stories about him and the stuff that he's done, especially in Washington, D.C. with the march, especially with the stuff he's done here in Cleveland, with everything with the culture change and everything here in Cleveland, which was amazing for him, and especially in L.A. too. He was definitely a huge, huge part of the core of what is Cleveland and how Cleveland is now and what Cleveland will be going forward, because people still remember the things they've talked about with Jim Brown. I mean, you're still going to get stories. Like you said, you're never going to forget Jim Brown 200 years from now. He'll still always be there and be locked in that legacy. And that's something that you can't take away from him. You can't take away from Cleveland, because even after he was gone, he was still Cleveland Brown. Never went anywhere else, never even cared to. He was still a Brown. And, you know, it's sad to see him go. I pray for his family who had to endure that and then put it out. But, man, he made it to 87 years old. Just think of that. I mean, 87 years old, playing 9 years of football, everything else that you got going on. You don't hear that often, making it that long. And for him to make it that long was absolutely, truly amazing, especially for younger generations of, like, LeBron James fans meeting Jim Brown and at first not knowing who he is and what he is now. You know, just amazing, amazing thing that he is, an amazing person that he is. So, all right, let's get the sad stuff over with. I know we all miss Jim Brown. We wish him the best, but we do have some fun in store for us tonight. Now, Casey, you killed all my trivia with Bry. Because I mean, it's all Jim Brown trivia at this point in time, but you rattled
still
it off.
give it.
Well, I mean, he's the only person to do it 3 times NFL MVP besides quarterback. 8 rushing titles every year he's had over. I mean, his stats are completely amazing. Bry, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not 100% sure. Bry, do you know what movie was the last movie Jim Brown was in?
Honestly, I don't know. Other than the Dirty Dozen, I don't think I know any Jim Brown movies.
Well, he was in one of the movies. I believe it was Any Given Sunday. Wasn't he the linebacker coach for Any Given Sunday?
Yep.
Mars Attacks.
Cool.
I believe he was in that. So we're going to, I think the last one was that. But the reason why I bring that up is because you haven't watched any of his movies. But do you know what kind of coach he was and who he coached in Any Given Sunday, Brian?
Are we talking about the remake or the original?
What do you mean? There's no remake.
Yeah, the Adam Sandler one. Oh, Any Given Sunday. I'm thinking Longest Yard.
No.
Oh, Any Given Sunday. Jeez, the only LL Cool J and Jamie Foxx are the only 2 people I know in that movie.
There's another football star in there. He had a gold tooth, and he was mean as mean could be.
Goldberg.
Nope, not even close. We'll save it here for a little bit later. But that trivia is brought to you by City Dogs of Cleveland. And Bry, like I said, we had a dog this week that fits the drumming of our ice cream. Our dog of the week's name is Drumstick. And this dog is the cutest dog I have ever seen. And he is a tripod, Bry. He only has 3 paws. He still gets around just fine. He has 3 paws. Doesn't stop him from doing what he loves to do. He is a cuddle bug. Look at that face. Oh, we got to get this dog adopted, Bry. So his name is Drumstick. He is approximately 4 years old, around 58 pounds. Like I said, his left foot, the paw is missing, but you never know it happened, and he is one lovable face. So please go adopt that dog at City Dogs Cleveland. We appreciate that. I will put up the as I screw up everything else, I'll put up the ticker down here at the bottom, how to get a hold of City Dogs Cleveland. And on that note, Bri, it is time to get into Mount Bustmore Cleveland style. Now, we are going to have some fun with this because Mount Bustmore is something special here in Cleveland, especially when it comes to the Browns, because we've had about 23 years of Mount Bustmore. But I want to get everybody's take on all Cleveland. It could be coaches. It could be free agents brought in. Give me some of your top Mount Bustmores. And Casey, we'll start with you first.
I think it has to start with Art Modell. I don't think that you could start a Mount Bustmore of someone who's done more disappointing shit to Cleveland sports fans than Art Modell. It's impossible. Let's take the elephant out of the room. Don't even talk about the move. If you were just to say, I have an owner here, he did these three things. He fired Paul Brown. He forced Jim Brown into early retirement. He fired Bill Belichick. Just take those three things, and you have the worst owner you've ever heard of. And then you add in the fact he ripped the team out of our clutches and took them to Baltimore and tried to take the logos and the records and everything with him. That's the worst human right there.
All right, Bri, do you got one with Art Modell?
Just, you want me to just give one or what?
Yeah, give one or a couple. I mean, you started out with the big one right out of the gate.
Who's the big one? You give me your big one, and then I'll.
Oh, my big one?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm going to go with Guardians. I'm going to go on the Guardian side.
Oh.
Nick Bro Swisher was
yeah,
my biggest dumpster fire. Him and Michael Bourne that we signed here for the contracts that we signed him for, and a dumpster fire that came with him with Dude Bro Sweet coming off his face every time he swung the bat. I just could not stand Nick Swisher. And then
you loved him.
No.
The Ohio State. You were all about that.
Oh, no. I love the Ohio State. I do not like the Guardian Nick Swisher or the Indian Nick Swisher. Now,
hindsight.
New York Yankee Nick Swisher, I wish we would have got that guy, but he left a long time ago from there. Yeah, Nick Swisher and that one. And then also one that was kind of – I got Kerry Wood. You remember Kerry Wood coming in to be a closer for like a half a second, and then he couldn't throw the ball anymore. Got him on there. Those are kind of like my Guardians ones. So do you have any Cavs or anything?
Yeah, I guess I'll take the Cavs. The first one that comes to mind is Anthony Bennett.
Oh, God, yes.
Number one overall pick. Didn't do anything at all. And, we hear about how weak the draft was, but I'm pretty sure you go through that draft, you can find a lot of people that were much better than Anthony Bennett. So he would be one of my Cavs for sure. As you got to put on there. A lot of the people on my Mount Bustmores are from our lifetime. Guys that I remember the hype around them. I remember how high they were drafted, and I just remember how excited I got when they were on the Cleveland teams. So I'll give you another Cav, and it was DeJuan Wagner. I was so pumped for him. You hear the high school stories about him scoring 100 points, and I think he went to Memphis and just tore it up and was a scoring machine. And I can't remember if he dealt with a lot of injuries in the NBA, but he just didn't really amount to much. So those were the Cavs that came to mind right at first.
Sorry.
He agrees.
Sherry, I guess he agrees.
Moses is a baseball? No, he's a basketball watcher, apparently. He has no respect.
I got to throw Shaq on the end of that too, but Shaq was like 38 years old when he came in here.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot of mine are draft picks, guys that just didn't really amount to much. I mean, I think the only free agent that I just remember being a giant bust was, like you said, Swisher.
No Dwayne Bowe? We have to bring up Dwayne Bowe.
No, because I wasn't excited. Like, he was at the end of his career, and he wasn't ever really a superstar. So I just didn't. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I just didn't expect much from Dwayne Bowe. I thought he was just kind of a guy, that they signed that wasn't really going to be a Pro Bowler or anything for us. But yeah, I mean, I'm still writing down Browns on the bus, but surprisingly, I had a lot of Guardians, just guys over the years that I remember hearing a lot of good things about, and they just never came to fruition. They just kind of, meddled around 200, the Mendoza line, and then they were just gone. You hear about them for 2 or 3 years. They would never do anything. I got Matt Laporta. I got Andy Marte. I got Bradley Zimmer.
What about
and then
what about
Edwin Encarnacion?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would agree he didn't live up to the hype, but yeah, I didn't have him. Here's a surprise. I got Bo Naylor on mine. I'm sick and tired of hearing about Bo Naylor and how good he is. I've been hearing for 2 years. He hasn't even. I don't think he's played a game in Major League. He can't be that good.
They're bringing him up now, Bri.
Well, he's still. The hype outweighs the production.
Right.
So until he starts doing something, I'm tired of hearing his name. I shouldn't know AAA players' names.
Well, Bri, I understand that, but when it's the AAA player is never going to come up until they get the right contract for him and they get the right amount of money for him. I mean, that's why he's down there, Bri. They got.
Well, what are his numbers in AAA? I don't think they're that good.
They're a lot better than the numbers of the catchers that are hitting here for us this year.
That shouldn't be your baseline. I mean, they are historically bad catchers, so I'm sure we could trade for another team's AA guy and he'd have better numbers than what we got.
Oh, Justin chimed in. James chimed in. Brandon Phillips was bad and
good one.
Well, in Cincy.
Yeah.
Oh, here they come. Justin Gilbert, Johnny Mansell, Fred Richardson.
All on the list.
See, you're my dad. God, I love my dad. Indians is the best farm team the Yankees ever had. God, I love you, Dad.
Yeah, Urshela. Yeah, you're welcome.
Apparently the Mets, too.
Yeah, and the Mets. Might as well throw them in there, too. Cookie beat us. How did Cookie beat us over the weekend? Come on.
Verlander.
Now, I'm going to throw a name out there, and I know he had one stellar year here in Cleveland, even though it wasn't even a full year because he got suspended so many times. Josh Gordon has got to be one of the biggest busts in Cleveland. That much talent and then just
too much good weed for Josh Gordon is what happened in Cleveland.
He did find the good weed here.
Oh, he was drinking every game too. I mean, I just watched the Jacksonville game the other day just to watch it. Unbelievable. I mean, that kid, 1,464 yards in 14 games. He was on a pace that no one had ever seen before, and he was doing it with, Whedon and Jason Campbell and Hoyer, like unbelievable, man. And that's the best that never was, Josh Gordon.
Absolutely.
Just pissed away all that talent and hundreds of millions of dollars in the long run, just because he couldn't stay off the wacky tobacco. You know what I mean? Just they tell you when they're going to test, man. Like
RG3.
It's a dummy test.
Oh, here's my dad. Now this is for USC though. Charles White from USC.
Hmm?
What position did he play?
Running back.
Yeah, he was the running back with Bush, wasn't he?
No, this was before that.
That was Lendale, like.
That was okay.
Yeah. This is before that. I believe he was a Heisman winner too. Came in and just couldn't get the starting job over any of the Pruitts. Like he just.
Oh, he was on the Browns.
Yeah. He was drafted by the Browns.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Let's see here. RG3 has chimed in here. Chris, yeah, Johnny Football and Gilbert had to be the worst draft in history.
Yep.
I don't know. 38-year-old Brandon Whedon. That was kind of. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking on that one.
Well, let me tell you why the Gilbert one always kills me, because we always focus on the quarterbacks because they get all the pub. But they had the 4th overall pick and got cute and traded back to 8. Missed out on Khalil Mack and Mike Evans. So then they picked Gilbert. And then in the next 5 players, you get like Taylor Lewan, Aaron Donald, Odell Beckham, Zach Martin. There's like 23 Pro Bowls between those 4 players and 13 All-Pros just between Donald and Zach Martin. I mean, just. Ugh. And meanwhile, Justin Gilbert played in 23 games, started 3. That's it. That's what you got. And you just passed up on all that generational talent. That was a stacked draft and just pissed it away.
And then he just pretty much ended up being a punt returner, wasn't he? A kick returner and punt returner at the end?
I don't know what he went. He went to Pittsburgh, and I have no idea what he did there for his one season there. None whatsoever.
Yeah,
I know I wasn't scared when they picked him up. I was like, all right, good luck with all that.
So just players, no coaches?
Well, you can throw in coaches too. Like I'm going to throw in Mike Holmgren is in there. That piece
Sure.
of shit.
Oh
Sure.
my God.
I'm gonna throw in Freddie Kitchens just because I experienced it firsthand and it was extremely traumatic. But at the same time, I really wanted to hang out with him because he seemed like somebody who knew how to have a good time, but just not at the right place and time, i.e., Pittsburgh started it. Be a grown up.
He was a grown up. He was going out to a movie with his kids. So what? He wore that T-shirt. Screw them.
You have to have a little decorum if you're a head coach
Really?
in the NFL. Yes.
Did you not look at him? He practiced off of a Denny's menu. That's this face coaching the Browns is what you saw out there every week during his time. This face.
But
Trying to decide whether I want the moons over Hammy or am I building my own Grand Slam?
Grand Slam every time.
Every time you think of Freddie Kitchens, look at this face.
I was just tired of all the Denny's slander. I love Denny's. Give me a Denny's
too
menu
love
right
Denny's.
now. I'll hold it right
I
here and do
grew
the whole
up-
show.
I grew up at Denny's as well.
Actually, I just took the boys to Denny's not too long ago. I was like,
Hey,
this price is cutting them up a little bit. Now, I don't remember these prices being this high.
yeah.
You know, I remember like the 4 for $4 to 5 for $8, but what we got going on here? Do we have any like coaches for the Guardians that are? I mean, Manny Acta was horrible at like our time growing up. I mean, do we throw in like certain '90s teams that kind of choked it out, like like Jose Mesa kind of? I mean, we throwing that in there, or we just kind of because it busted us out? Like the ones that really pissed me off is the ones that we had, like Manny Ramirez. Yes, he was good here, and he was really good here. And then he went to Boston. It was like he was God. Like every time that happens to us, and it just like I'm just sitting there watching it happen. Victor Martinez, okay, here goes to Detroit, perennial all-star. Like, can we just stop that at some point in time for our baseball team?
Well, I think Shapiro in general. I mean, he was the reason they were a farm team for the Yankees. And if you look at just trading CeCe and Cliff Lee coming off Cy Youngs, and they go and they're pitching against each other in the World Series. As someone who roots for Cleveland sports, that has to hurt watching it. Trading Coco Crisp and Victor Martinez, and I mean, they didn't lose as much. If they had lost more, there'd have been more outrage. They had some good seasons in there where they'd get 90 wins and stuff like that. But he was constantly just unloading great talent. Meanwhile, extending like Travis Hafner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy moves. It felt like they were winning in spite of him to me.
Well, you can't bring in Pronk. I still got the jersey downstairs. So Pronk's my big dumb guy that can't really stay healthy and hit home runs enough. But Lewis, okay, Dad, I don't know that one. I'll bring it up here in a second. But like I just see like the certain Guardians that I like. They always brought in like the older guys, but they still had juice in them. Like Oral Hershiser, you brought him in. He was Dennis Martinez. Those kind of guys. Like we just can't find those guys anymore for the Guardians for some odd reason. Like every time we bring him in, it's 58-year-old Jason Giambi sitting on the bench, hitting one home run, and then coming back and doing nothing else. Oh, here we go, Rob Ryan. Yeah, we had Rob Ryan. We had the Hugh Jackson, Romeo, and Chudzinski. And I really don't think Chud got a fair shake here.
No, he got done dirty. He did.
So
he got sold a bill of goods, and they didn't hold up their end of the bargain.
Love Project Donkey. Oh, boy. All right, so do we have – what about other than those coaches? Brian, do you have another Browns coach that you were completely down on when they got him?
I mean, we always talk ourselves into getting excited when they hire somebody. I think to me the biggest bust is Hugh Jackson because he talked a big game and we all bought in. And we thought like, well, he had one successful year with the Raiders, and then he was done dirty, and then he went back to the Bengals, had success there, so we thought we had the next up-and-coming guy. We really wanted him. I can't remember if that was the year that we kind of struck out on Chip Kelly, but we all talked ourselves into Hugh Jackson, and then, he goes and drafts Cody Kessler, and he says, you just got to trust me, and we had trusted him. And, for it to go that bad for him, I don't know how any coach could be a bigger bust than what Hugh Jackson was. But if we're including owners, I would say I would throw out Paul Dolan, because his front office has done fantastic things with what he has given them, but he just hasn't given them much. And so, as an Indians Guardian fan who is very bitter watching us grow these guys into all-star players and then wishing them goodbye and having to do that every single year, I'm sick of it. If you can't afford to sign your own players, sell the team. And it's just a broken record at this point. But we've all kind of become conditioned that, they still make the playoffs. They still have a decent team. They've been to a World Series 7 years ago or 6 years ago. So they still can kind of get it done. But it just feels like whenever we talk about Guardians, Indians over the last 10, 15 years, it's like temper expectations and just settle and just be happy if they make it to the playoffs and make a little bit of a run. We can't compete with the big market teams. So I don't know if that's a Dolan thing or a baseball thing, but I wouldn't hesitate to put Paul Dolan on it.
Yeah, I can give you that one. I mean, because we got so spoiled there in the 90s with they just bought anybody and everybody. Jim Thome, bring him down. Albert Bell, well, yeah, we'll pay you. Just now, granted, Thome left us to go to Chicago for just a couple more $1 million, which sucked. But is there one, and I'll get everybody's on this one, and then we'll move on to the movie tiers, if that's okay with everybody. Is there one borderline person in any of the Cleveland sports that you think either A, it wasn't a bust, but just not the right fit for Cleveland? Like, it just didn't work out for you in Cleveland.
I always circle back to the one that gets labeled the bust the most times, and that's Tim Couch. He gets thrown around as being a bust, and he didn't fail as much as the organization just failed him. I think if he'd have went to a stable organization, I think that's a 10 to 12-year quarterback starter in the league. He just got thrown to the wolves, and, God bless him, his best receivers were Dennis Northcutt and Kevin Johnson, and while they might have been NFL caliber receivers, they weren't starters on any other team in the league. I just think that, and they'll always label him as a bust. I feel like the league let them down, even the way that draft happened. You know what I mean? When they came back, they didn't get anything, man. They were starting with nothing. He got thrown back there as a 21-year-old and set the record his rookie season for getting sacked the most times in NFL history. He was just shell-shocked, and then us as fans, we were still scarred from the move, you know what I mean? So the first time he showed weakness, we turned on him, when in reality, we should have lifted that kid up, you know what I mean? Like, he still had promise, and I feel like they ruined him. I don't feel like he was a bust as much as the situation was a bust.
Brian?
Yeah, totally agree about Tim Couch. All your takes are spot on. Yeah, he could have been really good, and we started getting momentum in that 2002 season. And if Butch Davis sticks around, maybe we're talking about a whole different history of the franchise. But you said something that kind of stuck out of my mind, and you said fit with Cleveland. And to me, maybe on the surface he was a fit because, like Hugh Jackson, he talked a huge game. And Sherry brought him up earlier, so I'll bring him up now. Baker Mayfield. You have a 6'5" quarterback from Wyoming, used to playing in the snow, in the cold, and you pass him up to take a 6-foot quarterback who plays in a college style offense and wins a Heisman. And it's almost like we just got blinded by his confidence, his cockiness, and we just wanted to buy in. And the reason I put him in borderline, because he did do good things for us in Cleveland. I was just thinking today that playoff win against the Steelers is top 5 biggest wins in my life, as far as being a Cleveland sports fan. But he was the number one overall pick. And so to be a number one overall pick, you expect them to last more than 4 years with the organization. And, you can blame the Browns for getting rid of him, but he's just completely flamed out pretty much everywhere he's been since he's been with the Browns. I think he had one of the lowest QBRs in the league last year. So you wonder if it was the Browns organization lifting him up and the Nick Chubbs around him and Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, just kind of finding a way to make it work. So you always wonder what if they would have drafted Josh Allen. And we're going to be wondering that for hopefully not too much longer with Deshaun Watson, making us forget about that. But the number one overall pick in a very quarterback heavy draft, you had your pick of the top 4 guys, and in my opinion, you chose the wrong one. He should be here for 10, 15 years, not 4 years.
Sherry?
Sorry if I stole your one, Sherry.
Is it Baker?
I did, didn't I?
There's a picture. Baker and I spoke. He's a very nice guy. I was all for him. He knew about my little school in Florida that everybody just found out about this post basketball season. He gave me a go Owls, and I'm like, "You're from Oklahoma, and you know where Boca Raton is?" He's like, "Yeah, they're the only ones that gave me an offer," and I'm like, "Woo!" And it was documented on Hard Knocks. They were filming Hard Knocks. So I met him. There was so much hope behind him. He was really great to the fans when he would spend time with us. I just remember at training camp, there was, like a huge line of people to meet him. Everybody was so excited, and it was a million degrees out, as it always is. And he ran up and down the line of people, said, "Nobody leave. I'm going to meet each and every one of you." And I'm like, he's not a schmuck. All right. Because he didn't have to stand out there. Everybody else went in, Nobody else was out there signing autographs overtime with HBO cameras and lights following him around. I mean, there has to be something said for that. So I have a lot of hope for Baker, basically. So.
Just not here.
Maybe not as an NFL quarterback. Maybe XFL quarterback. He could be.
Maybe, we'll see what happens in Tampa.
You're making me feel bad.
I think he's going to be a tremendous. He's going to be a tremendous host on like game days.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, he is all
personality.
He's great on the commercials. Everybody loved the insurance commercials.
They were hilarious.
My big boss, he was a surgeon. He's like, he lives at the stadium. That's so funny. Like, it's ridiculous. Yes. And he's extremely personable as a human being. So I'm going to give him that.
Sure.
You can't fight me on that. I have a lot of evidence to back, and best of luck to Baker.
I agree with Brian. I hate to say it. I agree with you a little bit, even though I still like that he got us a playoff win in our lifetime that we got to see and enjoy. And I agree with Tim Couch. But the one that I am going with right now is a Cleveland Cavalier. And I have a little special bond with this man because I loved him when he was fat. When he got skinny, I didn't like him so much anymore. Kevin Love. And the reason why I bring it up is because I believe that if him getting injured against Kelly Olynyk, which was not his fault, if he wasn't sidelined with back spasms or whatever ailed him that week, if it was fat Kevin Love playing with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, they would not be talking about the Golden State Warriors right now and how a dynasty was born from them, because I'm pretty sure that trio would have just squashed that bug and been done with it. But we had skinny Kevin Love, who couldn't go down in the paint anymore, really do anything except catch a couple rebounds here and there and then just stay down on the outside line. I wanted fat Kevin Love so bad, Bri, and I got fed a skinny, very skinny, model-loving Kevin Love.
I can't believe it. I'm surprised.
I have, but yeah, there's another one. Trent Richardson had a good rookie year, then flamed
Oh,
out.
for sure.
I still can't believe we got a first round pick for Trent Richardson. How the hell did that happen?
They knew something nobody else knew.
Justin, I want you to go back and look at Fat Kevin Love.
I didn't know he was ever fat.
Oh, he was a big boy.
At UCLA, he was a little chunky.
He was a little chunky.
I'm
Peyton
okay with
Hillis.
that.
There we go. There's another one that comes up.
Sure.
Man. All right. Well, we're going to get into our movie tiers. Man, we got to move quick. Should we do movie tiers or do ice cream?
What do you think? Fat Kevin Love equals ice cream?
Sure. There's a good transition there.
All right, here we go. We're going from Fat Kevin Love.
There's no good ice cream in California, let me tell you.
You are.
And now it's time for Fat Boy Tuesday.
Now, there's two things I have to bring up for Fat Boy Tuesday. My wife has brought them up to me and put them on my radar. So the very first one is there is a Dr. Pepper float ice cream out now. Don't know who makes it, but I got excited as soon as I heard Dr. Pepper float. And then the other one that she brought up to me, and I'm going to ask the panel as we are all here, as we all love ice cream, would you pay $6,000 for a scoop of ice cream? Because that is the most expensive scoop of ice cream, and it is in Japan, a $6,000 scoop of ice cream.
No. I mean, if I ever pay $6,000 for a scoop of ice cream, y'all have the permission to kick the crap out of me and leave me where I lie, because that's absurd. If you have that much money, donate it to charity or something.
Because it's so instantaneous. It's gonna melt so quickly. It's gonna become soup. Like,
It's probably not even good.
what's the content dairy wise?
I think it's a gelato.
So there's egg and dairy in it then.
And then it's sprinkled with gold flakes, obviously.
Ah,
my
they can
question.
keep their gold flakes.
Yeah, eat a diamond.
Cheese
But
brat.
Then you gotta poop it.
Stuff like this upsets me that people spend their money on this stuff.
Exactly. If rich people are spending their money on $6,000 ice cream, I mean, the end is nigh. We're almost there. That's ridiculous, man.
But honey, it had gold flakes on it.
You're not supposed to digest gold. Do you know what that's going to do to your soft tissue on the inside? That could potentially cause a bleed.
I know what it's going to do to the other side as it comes out.
Crap gold. That would be a picture to send to your friends.
Taking that to the pawn shop right there.
Just call me
As is, in a cup.
Hey, I'm cashing out somehow. $6,000. We're getting something back out of it.
Here's $2,000 in crap.
I love it. Oh, a Goldschlager ice cream? I don't know about that guy.
Huh.
Mm.
Interesting.
Now, I also got brought up Superman ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Has anybody had Superman ice cream?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Okay. What the hell is Superman ice cream?
It was back in the day with the ice cream trucks. You could get they had Superman ice cream. Yeah. It was on a stick.
I got it in a scoop, like in Michigan.
You probably could.
Mm-hmm.
In Michigan, yeah, it was scoop. It was Superman ice cream. It was like vanilla tie-dyed. Superman colors.
I think it's strawberry, banana, and one other.
Oh no, it was just vanilla.
It's like a fruity vanilla kind of.
Like I heard about it, and like when somebody told me, I'm like, "What are you talking about? Rainbow sherbet?" He goes, "No, it's ice cream." I'm like, "So it's rainbow sherbet." Like I couldn't correlate like Superman ice cream. Explain it to me, and I'm like, "What the hell is that?" What's your guys' favorite ice cream? Let's go with Sherry first. Sherry, what's your favorite ice cream?
You mean regionally, or like soft serve versus hard ice cream, or like out of the freezer at the supermarket?
Let's go flavor, soft serve, or hard, and what cone?
Oh, okay. Okay. For instance, let's say I'm going to Mitchell's, which is so freaking good. How could nobody list Mitchell's in that little chat we were having earlier, Honey Hut over Mitchell's. I don't know about that. Anyway, Mitchell's makes a waffle cone that'll rock your world. It's not too sweet. It's a little cinnamony. Very, very fresh. They make them like right in front of you all day. Amazing. If I'm going to Mitchell's, I'm going to get my favorite flavor there. Their hard ice cream is the black cherry chocolate chunk, which again will change your life. It's not too sweet because too sweet I can't do. It's a little tart because of the cherries. It's, locally, whatever, all the buzzwords are. It's amazing. And I'm going to go to bat for Mitchell's.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I don't know if I have like an official favorite. I guess maybe I point you in the direction of like a Moose Tracks or something like that. Basically, any sort of vanilla ice cream with peanut butter and maybe some Krispies in there and a little bit of chocolate. I mean, that'd probably be number one for me. So I don't know. Everyone has kind of a different name for it. Sometimes I had a Nutter Butter at Handles a couple years ago that was really good. But yeah, some sort of vanilla ice cream with peanut butter and maybe a little bit of chocolate.
All right, Casey.
Okay, I got ice cream takes. Here we go. I'm going to kind of piece this together from what we've been talking about. So you mentioned floats. For me, my personal is a root beer float. Nothing's better than that. If I can get one of those, it's on the menu. I'm getting it. But someone mentioned Goldschlager, so I'm going to kind of take this way.
That sounds good.
There is a boozy way to have ice cream. You can get a Buffalo Trace bourbon cream, A&W root beer, vanilla bean ice cream. You'll thank me later. That'll change you right there. That's one way. My favorite place, though, to get soft serve ice cream, someone mentioned it in the chat, Young's Dairy in Yellow Springs, Ohio. That is the best ice cream I've had in the state of Ohio. It's transformative. It was that damn good. But I also have an old man take. I love pistachio ice cream. That's my old man take. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. It appeals to me. I love pistachio. And if I have to choose a cone, it's going to be a waffle cone. I can't do it any other way.
Okay, I have never had pistachio. Now, Brian, have you had pistachio?
No, I've had pistachio pudding, which is delicious, but I don't know if I've had pistachio ice cream. I've seen it. I've heard good things. Never had it.
Erie?
I have. And in Little Italy, you can get a pistachio cannoli at Corbo's, made right in front of you. Casey would enjoy it.
Road trip.
Sounds fantastic.
Right, she had me at cannoli.
Pistachio cannoli? Are you kidding me?
Right. Go. She had me at cannoli. Oh, boy.
Very good.
You said, here we come.
I know. Road trip. All right. My big take, I like soft serve. Depending on, especially when it comes into waffle cone, got to go with waffle cone. Regular cone, just not too much. We also have, do you guys remember the dip? The vanilla with the chocolate dip comes out.
Yes.
Remember loving that as a kid. We also did swirls with ours. So we would have a vanilla and an orange sherbet swirl.
Ooh.
Have a vanilla and chocolate. We would have a vanilla and a blue moon, which blue moon was a very popular flavor where we grew up. Ours was the Dairy Hut in West Lafayette, Ohio, where they got a whole bunch of different stuff. Their food's actually really good too. They have a burger brie called the Kraken.
Okay.
It's got 16 pieces of bacon.
Wow.
Oh yeah, this burger it's legit. It's really good. They have different. So their burgers range from Beastly, Goliath, Kraken, and then there's one above the Kraken. But they do some fun stuff down there. But the cones down there, they'll also can't go wrong. Can we add in milkshakes in with the because it is technically ice cream?
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Straight milkshake on a hot day. Because the reason why we brought this up is because the Strawberry Frosty is back at Wendy's. And I have not had the Strawberry Frosty. Every time I've gone, they've been out of the Strawberry Frosty. And I want to try the Strawberry Frosty. So it was just like, well, guess what? Let's just start talking ice cream and then let's go from there. Like my favorite, personal favorite, and always will be, butter pecan. I am a huge butter pecan fan. The one thing that you guys can have all to yourself that I will never, ever touch is the cookies and mint or whatever the hell, the mint ice cream. That could just be thrown in the trash. I can't do mint, man. I can't do it.
You reminded me
I
of,
don't do it either.
there's a mint cookies and cream that's fantastic.
The
We
one
got
like-
it from Target. I can't remember who makes it, but one of my favorites.
Send it all my way. I'll eat the mint.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll eat it all.
Fatty,
too.
Fatty,
Andy's mint sandwiches.
if
Yeah.
you
really
ever
good.
find yourself in Savannah, Georgia, I had the best butter pecan ice cream of my life. Savannah, Georgia, Leopold's. They have it at the airport. They have it at the Atlanta airport. That's how famous it's getting. Savannah, Georgia, shout out. Candy Kitchen, go there too. Different reasons. But Leopold's,
Mhm.
the butter pecan changed my life.
All right, hold on. You are definitely not from Ohio. In Ohio, we say pecan,
I'm from Florida.
and you say
Wow.
Pecan. Well,
Is it?
my parents learned English in Brooklyn, New York. What do you want from me?
I got something that's a little closer for you. Honey Hut. My wife swears by the Honey Hut. I think it's called Honey Pecan.
See,
You
that's
gotta
why
try it.
we've had Always Positive Jay chimed in. A whole bunch of people were saying
Yeah.
about Honey Hut.
Honey
No,
Hut.
no,
I've heard
Honey
of it.
Pecan. Yep.
Also, your wife's got the A&W stand down in Ashland, right?
Right. Yep.
We got to make a road trip down there, Bri. I heard their conies are really good.
Good. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever had ice cream there, believe it or not. But yeah, the food it's just like an old time. It's not the A&W. It's not like the because sometimes you see the root beer A&W stands.
They had
It's
one
not
in the
that.
mall where I grew up. And fun fact,
Those are good.
I don't like root beer floats. I think they're horrid. They're disgusting.
I don't know if they're horrid, but I'm not a huge fan either. But I'd drink one.
All right.
Here's a
great.
hot take. I got a hot take. I think the Frosty's overrated.
Fair. That's fair.
The chocolate, anyways. I haven't had the strawberry.
I like vanilla Frosties.
I never
Haven't
had
had those
vanilla frosty.
Now, hold on. Do you guys dunk the fries in the Frosty?
I
Yeah,
used to. Yeah, I haven't done that in a long time.
we're American. That's what we do.
Well, we're going to have to get Bri to do it.
Yeah, gonna have to.
All right. So
Do
my
I
dad.
put him in a headlock or do you?
Oh no, it's fine. See, he's like, so when you go to a zoo and you see the llama sitting there and you're trying to get it over to get the popcorn, you're like, come on, get the popcorn. Come on. You kind of got to do that with Bri a little bit, just a little bit, and then he'll meet you halfway, and then you go, good boy. And
You
then,
did it with the pickle. I'm proud you
Yeah.
tried a pickle.
I'm
No
proud-
big sudden movements. I'll get scared away.
either that or he'll bite you. One of the two.
Oh,
He gets,
It's
he
a
gets
donkey
kinda
kick.
angry.
It's not a bite.
Especially if he gets a lean cuisine where he only gets 3 French fries and 2 chicken fingers.
That's messed up.
I'm off those. That was terrible.
that's messed up.
He,
That's
he,
punishment.
he brought in a lean cuisine at work, and I looked at him like, "What's that?" He goes, "It's chicken fingers." I'm like, "That's like 2 chicken nuggets and 3 fries, right?"
Not even joking. Not even joking.
That's messed up. That's punishment. What did you do?
Never again.
Oh, yeah. There was a A&W back in Coshocton where they did the roller skates. I forgot about
Mhm.
that. Gotta miss those days.
Oh, are you guys Swenson's fans?
Well, yeah, of course. We're from Cleveland.
There's one right across the street, which is great because when it's downwind, it's delicious. I open all the windows, it smells like fried mushrooms, and I'm like, woo! So their milkshakes, solid, very solid. I was
Now-
impressed.
Now, I have not had Culver's. Can somebody tell me
I
about
haven't had it either.
I have. Oh yeah, I have.
Yeah,
Now, are their concrete mixers that good?
overrated. Their
Well-
butter burgers, though, that's worth the trip. The
Sure.
butter burgers where it's at. It's all custard based stuff. You know
Oh,
what I
I
mean? So
love custard.
If you're into custard, you might like Culver's. It's not a popular one in my family. I have several right around where I live.
So on this side, on the east side, there's a place here called East Coast Custard, and it is like the best stuff that I've ever put in my mouth.
We have
No?
that here on the west side.
Yeah. It's good. It's real
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, my
See,
wife.
where I'm from, there's no good ice cream where I grew up.
I've heard everybody tell me I got to go to Culver's and at least try Culver's.
It's worth a
And
trip.
I look at it and I just think, okay, well, it's a Dairy Queen.
The
It was big in
burgers
Michigan.
are like Steak and Shake is who I
Close,
would
yeah.
like, but maybe a little bit better than Steak and Shake.
Man, I love Steak and Shake,
Me
especially
too.
when they had the cereal ice cream, the cereal milkshakes with the fruity pebble milkshake. God, why don't they bring that back?
The Steak and Shake on the east side closed, and it had nothing to do with like tax evasion, and I was so pissed because it had nothing to do with the food, and I was so mad.
Culver's are running them out of business. I think that's what I hear.
Like the one Steak and Shake turned into a Starbucks on my side. I was like,
It turned into a Popeye's chicken, which I'm okay with. I'm
about to go eat Popeyes when I get off here.
I enjoy Popeyes.
Oh, I'm jealous.
I could chug those biscuits like get out.
All right, well, let's finish up Fat Boy Tuesday. Let's do our Bri, the trivia for you. We'll knock that out real quick, and then we'll go through this movie cheer real quick, and then we'll get out of here. All right. So the trivia I brought up to you was Jim Brown was a coach for the Sharks, and what was he coaching, and who was he coaching?
I'm gonna say you said gold tooth. I can't think of anybody with a gold tooth. You said linebackers, so I'm gonna say Bosworth, Brian Bosworth.
Actually, no. He was coaching defense, and he was coaching Lawrence Taylor as a linebacker in that movie. And you want to talk about one of the craziest movies? I love that movie. That movie cracks me up, and especially how they just talk about their money the way it. But we're getting into our movie tier here now. I'm bringing up the overlay as soon as I find it. So this is the movie tier that we kind of went off with. And the reason why we brought this up is because there's a lot of really good movies that were put down at the bottom. All right. And one of the movies that I wanted to bring up to everybody, because the top tier was Remember the Titans, Rudy, Friday Night Lights, and Any Given Sunday. Okay. Right below that, we had The Longest Yard, Invincible, Brian's Song, The Blind Side, and The Water Boy. Then Draft Day, Gridiron Gang, We Are Marshall, Replacements, Little Giants, Varsity Blues, Jerry Maguire Program, Concussion, Longest Yard, The Express, Undefeated, Greater, and then getting a whole bunch of really good movies down at the bottom, especially with Necessary Roughness, which is one of my personal favorites. Safety, the Disney movie, The Long Shots, All the Right Moves is down here at the bottom. So, and Radio is down at the bottom, Leatherheads. So I wanted to get your guys' take on like your top movies, and we'll do our top 3 movies, top 3 football movies that you guys love. All right. Now, Sherry, you did a whole bunch of homework on this.
I did. This is my list. This
All
is
right.
my as my former manager said, I had serial killer handwriting. I don't know about that. But anyway, so I saw all these movies in a matter of like 4 days.
Oh, she
Wow.
did. And I gave her half of them to watch. I'm like,
You did.
you're going to be a tearjerker. You're going to watch.
And I was very happy to see The Express before Jim Brown died because it's all around, you know. And so, of course, I'm like crying through that one. I'm like, thanks, Betty. You know, it was phenomenal. That's not my number 1, though. Do you want my number 1 and my number 2 and my number 3?
Yes, please. Start with number 3.
Sure.
Remember the Titans. Come on.
Number 3.
It has to. There's so many elements to it. And I think it's fun seeing these very famous people when they were that young, too. I thought that was pretty cool. Seeing a baby Ryan Gosling, that was pretty fun. Skinny baby Ryan Gosling, that was fun. But the story, it's such a good story. So that's my number 1. My number 2, I'm going to go The Express because Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. How can you go wrong with a story like that? I'm not going to say anything about the story because I don't know who saw it and who hasn't seen it.
Everybody,
I don't.
if you're a Browns fan, you watched it. You knew what it was about.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wow. Talk about tearjerker.
sad.
Man.
All right, number one.
Number three. I'm going to keep it Browns heavy with Draft Day because that movie itself was just stressful. Holy crap. I had to stop it a few times and step away because I'm like, this is fake, but it feels very real. I'm like, I gotta walk away. That poor intern that got the shit beat out of his computer. I'm like, that would be me. That would be me. I am that kid. He'd call me like a schmuck and I'd cry, but whatever.
By the way, there's a fire in your office. What should I do? All right, Casey, what about your top 3 football movies?
There's some overlap. My number 3 would be Remember the Titans. I got to give a shout out to Micah Shanks. I didn't see that movie for years, and he kept telling me, you need to see it, you'll love it. He actually bought me the Blu-ray eventually to make me watch it. And phenomenal movie. Like she said, the young actors in it, the story, Denzel was the coach, you know what I mean? Like that's a solid movie. Number 2, we've kind of talked about a few times, Any Given Sunday. That movie, maybe it was when I saw it and the way I saw the league, and like it was a pretty like real situation, you know what I mean? With the egos and the attitudes and the talking heads and just the Jim Brown aspect. There is a scene where he's on the sidelines flipping out, yelling at his players, and Lawrence Taylor says, "Settle down, coach. You're going to have a stroke." Jim Brown says, "I don't get strokes, motherfucker. I give them." That right there makes it a Hall of Fame moment.
I did look for that one on all the streaming services that I subscribe to, but it wasn't available.
Oh, it's an Oliver Stone movie, so it's crazy, but I don't know. I love the NFL so much, and I think that was a good snapshot of where the league was at that point in time. And my number 1, though, is going to date me, but it's also because where I was at in life when I saw it and what it meant to me. The Program. The movie The Program, man, I was in junior high playing tackle football. We'd watch that before every game, you know what I mean? You would get hyped. You want to hit someone so hard they get snot bubbles. Like that whole, just the feeling that movie gave us, and we'd get together as a team and watch it before we would play every week. Like, so for me, The Program holds a special spot in my heart.
Bri?
Yeah, I'll be quick because everyone on my top 3 has already been mentioned because they're all great movies. I'm with Sherry that felt like I had to sneak Draft Day in there just because I'm such a huge fan of the draft, and I obviously love the Browns so much. It may be a little unrealistic, but it's every Browns fan's dream for them to do what they did, to trade up, to trade back, to trade up again. So that's in there for me. Number 3, I watch it whenever it's on. Number 2, I'm with Casey. The Program, it hit me at the certain time that it probably hit Casey, and you're just like, man, this is a badass football movie, and it gets you wanting to run through a wall. And when we were in junior high or high school, looking up to not knowing what's going on with the college football game, and that kind of takes you in and shows you all the good and the bad. So I think that one's fantastic. And then one of my favorite movies of all time is Remember the Titans. It's kind of cliche at this point, but still watch it every time it's on. I still get all the feels and everything. So yeah, there's my top 3.
All right, let's go through some of the. We had Justin say Rudy, Waterboy, and Remember the Titans. We had Remember the Titans, Rudy, Any Given Sunday, Varsity Blues, honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My dad chimed in, said, Remember the Titans, and where's he at? Remember Titans and Blindside, which is a great movie.
Sure.
Yeah, nobody's really said Rudy. Craig Foster, Remember Titans, Draft Day, and The Express. All right. Now, I have them hold dear to my heart because no matter any time the movie comes on, I'm going to watch that movie. Number 3 for me, The Program. The program. That movie was I wish that they could remake that movie and do it right at this time and age. Because beforehand, that was like, no, we don't talk about giving money to players. Can't do that. Drugs? No, we can't talk about that. Nobody does drugs. Are you on steroids? No, we can't talk about that. And the way it was back then. And now that has come to light and everything else has come to light, just watching that movie now makes it so good. Number 2, necessary roughness. Anytime I hear Paul Blake tattoo somebody, I get pumped. Robert Loggia's halftime speech in that movie was probably one of the best halftime speeches I've ever heard in my entire life. And if you haven't watched it, you can even fast forward all the way to the end so you can hear that halftime speech, because that man is solid gold in that movie. And I just don't know what it is about just the little quirks, the funny parts that were in it, the serious parts. It's just all around a great movie. And my number 1 goes back to my childhood. My childhood growing up, watching Ed O'Neill and Rick Moranis. Little Giants. Cannot go wrong with Little Giants. Little Giants was absolutely amazing with the Fumble Rooski, with the, what was it?
Icebox.
Was it Puerto Rico? Is that what the name of the
annexation of Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico. Like, just watching that movie as a kid, just watching it, like the kids that got picked on and everything else, that just, it was like the greatest comeback movie. And honestly, honorable mention Varsity Blues, because we all kind of grew up with that also. That was kind of in our wheelhouse, but those are my top 3. And like I said, with the program, with Necessary Roughness, with Little Giants, anytime that movie is on or I get a chance to watch that movie, I'm watching it, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll watch it all the way to the end, especially with the Pomke, show me the arm, son. Throw the ball, genius. Just love it. So those are mine. We got the Fumble Rooski. Love that movie. All right, so everybody keep typing in. Go to our page, type in comments of your favorite top 3. We'll be posting them out throughout the night. Guys, I can't thank you enough for a great show tonight. We got to have some fun, which sometimes we don't get to have, especially talking ice cream, talking fun stuff like movie tiers and Mount Bustmore, because we're all trying to get, with the Guardians and the Cavs and the Browns. So we're trying to keep that up. But Casey, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for having fun with us tonight, and thank you for your wonderful ice cream. I guess I got to go get some pistachio ice cream. Casey, let everybody know where they can get a hold of you at.
You can find me on Twitter at Casey_Kenneman. You can read my writing at Dog Pound Daily, and I'll be on Cleveland.com this Thursday on the Sports for CLE show at about 4:40.
All right, perfect. All right, Casey, thank you so much for joining us. Hang out in the back for a second.
Will do.
All right, Sherry, we're at the end of the show. Thank you so much for the ice cream. It looks like we're going to hit up some Honey Hut at some point in time. We're going to hit up some A&W stuff. And thank you. You still have movies to watch, though, by the way.
Yeah, if anybody knows where they're streaming and I don't have to pay money for them, because I only bought one movie. I bought The Express because you told me that was like in your top 5 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent $4 in your honor. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
But it was worth every penny, really. And then I was kind of bummed out. I couldn't find it any given Sunday. I was looking all over for it. I couldn't find it. I think it was another one I had to pay for, but I didn't want to make an expensive weekend out of this.
I understand.
You watched Brian's song?
I've seen that.
I hear that's a tearjerker.
Yeah. No, Little Giants was great. I'm glad you told me to watch that one. That was
that's
hilarious. Ed O'Neill.
It's like the kid.
I love him so much. Yeah.
Like Mighty Ducks and that one together.
And there's a girl. Like, that's huge. Especially when she's in her cheerleading outfit and she puts her jersey and her pads on and she still has her skirt on. I'm like, that'd be me. Like, growing up, I didn't know that was a thing, Like, I didn't know about that movie, but absolutely. Go watch.
We'll lead you down the right path on this show, Sherry. We'll lead
I know.
All right, Sherry, stick around. We'll talk to you here after the show. All right, it's down to me and you, big fella. What a great show we had tonight. Can't thank Sherry and Casey. Great talking ice cream. Great talking Mount Bustmore. Had a blast talking Mount Bustmore. All right, Brian, we're here at the end of the show. Adopt the dog that we showed, which was Drumstick from City Dogs of Cleveland. Want to thank our troops, first responders, for everything you guys do, especially with this Memorial Weekend coming up. Please remember our veterans. We love them. Can't thank them enough for everything they've done for us. And Brian, on that note, God bless them.
Yeah, how did the event go on Saturday for the City Dogs of Cleveland?
I did not go, Brian, because I got a special surprise from my papa. My dad actually came up. My boys had their Taekwondo belt up. And my dad came up and spent the day with me and the boys, which I was not expecting. He called me earlier in the week, and it was nice to see my dad because I haven't seen him in a while. So I got to spend time with my dad. Sherry went for us. She said it was a decent turnout.
Good.
So they're doing another one, I think May 4th. We'll be in touch with that one. But yeah, I wish I could make it, but I just had family stuff going on. And like I told everybody else, when family stuff's going on, family comes first for me. And you know that, Bri. I mean, we've been together long enough that something like that happens with my dad popping in.
Is Sherry still on? Maybe she can hop in and tell us about it.
Sherry, how was it?
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. There was some cornhole. There were 2 beautiful adoptable dogs that were there walking around, being all cute and friendly and happy. And I'm sure people were, sneaking them hot dogs and whatnot, because that's what you do to cute dogs.
Sure.
And they look at you and they smile. They have their pretty smiles and they're very well behaved. And it was just a nice time hanging out with Browns fans.
Good turnout.
It was a decent turnout.
Good.
Yeah, Jay was there. The dog Chug was there.
Yeah.
Nick Carnes was there.
Nick Carnes.
I think Down Browns was there. I don't know. I don't know who.
There were somebody came and left before I got there. They were wearing yellow shirts. Something about pancakes. I don't know who they are.
How was the food?
Not bad.
Typical,
I didn't take a close inventory as I should have. Hot dogs, hamburgers.
Sure, can't go wrong.
There were baked goods up the yin yang, which I prefer.
Sweet.
Were those baked goods? Do we have some?
No, they were legit. You could give
fine
legit baked goods, and we all had our own. There was a lot of beer. So
you guys had a blast. All right.
Yeah, it was a good time. Always.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful day.
We'll catch back up with them.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, Brian, let's close out the show. Brian, you want God bless them?
Yep, God bless you. God bless America. Happy Memorial Day.
All right, I am that fat guy. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are Legal Ham to the Face, and we are uncorked, unloaded, and we're out. Holy cow, it has been a long day for me. All right, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. See ya.